They always laugh first. That's how most great things begin, not with belief, not with applause, with a smirk, a raised eyebrow, a headshake from someone who's already decided you've reached too far. You really think you can pull that off? That's the opening ceremony of every idea worth chasing. The light bulb, the airplane, the moon landing. Talking to someone 1,000 miles away through a screen in your pocket. All of them started the same way, with someone saying impossible. And back then they weren't wrong. Because impossible isn't a lie, it's a snapshot. A photograph of the world as it is now, not as it could be. That's the trick. The world doesn't deal in imagination, it deals in evidence. And until there's proof, it calls it fantasy, delusion, madness. But here's what history proves again and again. Most of the things worth doing in this world were declared impossible until someone did them. Roger Bannister was told running a mile in under 4 minutes would stop the human heart. Doctors said it, scientists published it, coaches warned against it, then he ran it. And within months, others did too. The limit wasn't the body, it was belief. Impossible didn't change. Someone just refused to accept it, and the dam broke. Oh, that's what impossible is. It's not a wall, it's a story. And stories can be rewritten. Maybe that's where you are now. Standing at the edge of a goal that feels like too much. Too late. Too far. So here's a question. What if it's not? What if the only reason it feels impossible is because no one around you has done it yet? That's not a reason to stop. That's your invitation to go first. And when they laugh, don't argue. Just smile and begin. There's a word that sneaks into your thoughts when no one's watching. It hides inside excuses. It dresses itself as logic. It pretends to protect you. I can't start over. I can't change this late in life. I can't risk it again. Sound familiar? That word has quietly ended more dreams than rejection ever has, because rejection at least means you tried, but can't ends the story before the first page is written, and the world loves when you say it. It keeps you predictable. Manageable, safe. Small dreams don't cause disruption. Quiet ambition doesn't stir discomfort. A life spent obeying doesn't make the world flinch, but you weren't built to tiptoe. The human spirit wasn't wired for safety, it was wired for search, for hunger, for reaching out into the dark and coming back with light. So if you feel the itch to break a pattern, to challenge what you've been handed, no, that's not foolish. That's evolution at work. That's purpose disguised as restlessness. And yes, they'll tell you to be realistic, to calm down, to settle. They'll say, you've got responsibilities now. You're not 20 anymore. Grow up. But they'll say that right until the day you prove them wrong. And when you do, they'll call you brave. They'll call you visionary. They'll say they always knew you had it in you. You don't need that. You never did. Because here's what no one says out loud. You've already done the impossible. You were born knowing nothing. And look at you now. You've spoken, stumbled, risen, risked, failed, loved, lost, and kept going. You've walked through hell dressed like it was Tuesday. And you came out with fire in your teeth. You've already beaten the odds more times than you can count. So why stop now? Why let one little word shrink the rest of your life? Can't is a myth, an inherited lie. And every time you say it, your future gets a little smaller. But every time you replace it with how, something cracks open. That's the word they can't control. That's the word they fear. Because how doesn't ask for permission. It starts digging. It starts building. It starts moving towards something no one else can see yet. So let the world keep their cart. Let them build fences with it. You're already halfway through the wall. Keep going. They thought he was insane. That's what they whispered as they walked past. That's what they laughed as they pointed from a distance. A man in the middle of nowhere with a hammer, chipping away at a mountain. No blueprint, no bulldozer, no backup, just one man. And a wall of stone. His name was Dashrath Manji, a labourer, a husband. A man who watched the woman he loved die because there was no road, just a mountain standing between his village and the hospital on the other side. So he picked up a hammer and he started to dig, not for a day, not for a week, but for 22 years. And every morning the sun rose to find him swinging. Every evening it watched him still at work. Blistered hands, broken tools, blood on stone, no money, no applause, no headlines, just pain and purpose. Villagers mocked him, called him possessed, told him to stop wasting his life, but he didn't come to be understood, he came to finish. And one morning, the world woke up to a different view, a passage where there once was a mountain, a road cut by hand, that turned a day's journey into a few short miles. He didn't build a road, he built possibility. He didn't break a mountain. He broke the lie that one person can't change the world. So the next time someone tells you that your dream is too big, that it's too late, that you're too small, remember the man with the hammer. They called him mad. Then they called him a legend. Because that's how impossible works. It mocks, it resists, and then, eventually, it moves. Not for those who knock politely, but for those who keep swinging long after the crowd has gone home. So what are you still waiting for? Permission? Applause? A clear path? No one is coming to carve it for you. Pick up your hammer and begin. Everyone wants to talk about the finish line. No one talks about the silence that stretches across weeks, across months, across years, the kind of silence where your phone doesn't ring, where the emails go unanswered, where you show up again and again and the world doesn't seem to notice or care. That silence can swallow you whole. It makes you wonder if you're wrong, if maybe you misunderstood the call, if maybe this fire in your chest isn't purpose, just delusion dressed as hope. That's where most people stop. Not because they failed, but because they mistook silence for a sign. But silence isn't a signal to stop. It's the sound of a world adjusting to something it's never seen before. Dawn Fazey Webster was told her life was over. A stroke had locked her inside her own body. She couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even hold a pen. But she could think, and she could dream. So she did the unthinkable. She began to write, using only her eyes, blink by blink, letter by letter. Every sentence took hours, every paragraph took days. No stage, no spotlight, no trending post, just silence. And a woman who refused to let it stop her, and after years of quiet work she earned a university degree in ancient history. You won't find her in textbooks, but you should. Because what she proved is this: silence isn't the absence of progress, it's the birthplace of it. Because greatness doesn't begin with applause, it begins with a decision. And a second one, and 1,000 more that no one sees. So if no one's cheering yet, good, it means you're early. It means you're still building what no one else has dared to imagine. And that's exactly where every great story starts. They won't see it coming, but you will. Because you were the one who heard something in the silence that no one else did. You heard the beginning. There's a point on the path where everything in you says stop. Not because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for so long and you're tired. It's the night when nothing's working and no one's watching. The night when even hope seems to have walked away. The night when you stare at the wall and think, maybe this just isn't for me. That moment is dangerous, not because it breaks you, but because it makes quitting feel logical. I've given enough. I've waited long enough. I've tried everything. But what if that moment isn't a stop sign? What if it's a doorway? Stephen King almost didn't become Stephen King. He wrote a book, thought it was garbage, threw it in the trash. His wife pulled it out, told him it mattered, told him to keep going. That book was Carrie. That trash can almost buried a legend. And that moment you're in now, that moment where nothing makes sense, where everything feels too heavy. What if it's not the end? What if it's the test? Because here's what no one tells you. The moment you feel most defeated is often the moment right before something shifts. That breakdown, it's just your old identity cracking. That confusion, it's the fog before clarity. Your story isn't over, it's tightening like a slingshot, and every second you keep going, that tension builds, until one day you release. And everything changes. Most people never see that day because they fold one page too early, but not you. You've come too far, you've bled for this, you've lost things for this, and it's not for nothing. There is no wasted fight when it's fueled by something real. So here's the truth. If you've got nothing left, give what's left anyway. If no one believes, believe twice as hard. And if you've already made peace with quitting, Then give yourself one more day and let tomorrow be the one that proves why today was worth surviving. You don't need a miracle. You just need the decision to try again. That's all it takes. That's all it ever takes. And when the impossible knocks, you won't flinch, you'll answer. One day someone's going to ask how you did it, how you broke through, how you kept going, how you carried all that doubt on your back and still moved forward. And you'll pause, because there won't be a neat answer, there won't be a formula, there will only be a memory of the nights you wanted to quit, of the mornings you rose anyway, of the ache that never stopped you, of the silence that never shut you down. They'll think the applause made you, but you'll know it was the years before anyone clapped. They'll think it was talent, but you'll know it was persistence. They'll think it was luck, but you'll know it was every hard thing you did when no one was watching. Because here's what you'll become. You'll be the one they study, the one they quote, the one they call fearless, even though they never saw the fear you carried like a shadow, and you won't correct them, because your job won't be to explain, your job will be to prove it can be done, because someone out there is waiting. They don't know your name, they haven't met you yet, but they're hoping desperately that someone like them can do something like this. They need you to go first. Not for glory, not for fame, but for the map. You are the map. You are the evidence. You are the living contradiction to every voice that says it can't be done. So take that next step, not when you're ready, but because it's time. Burn the word can't from your vocabulary. Turn your scars into fuel. Turn your hesitation into a hammer. And when they say it's impossible, say nothing. Just show them what it looks like when the impossible meets someone who didn't flinch. And then quietly go do your next impossible. Because you're not done, you're just getting started.